Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and we're back with another Total War Warhammer video. Once again continuing our missing series. We are very close to finishing and now we're going to look towards the Dark Elves. A faction which, in all honesty, is very much complete even when you start looking towards, well, pretty much every supplement available. Warhammer 2 has been kind in terms of content releases and so on, a lot of DLC and a lot of Lord packs to boost up all the different factions, give different playstyles, and even unique legendary lords. But with that being said, let's not waste any more time and check out what's missing for the Dark Elves. So we're going to start looking at the generic Lord and Hero options with first up a standard Beastmaster hero. We have the High Beastmaster as a Lord choice, so a hero choice would be nice too, as an effort to boost up any monsters and so on, but with different Lords rather than going with a High Beastmaster. It would have the same functionality as, say, for example, the Skaven Packmasters, which I think would be kind of useful because I know some people like taking as many monsters as possible, especially now with Rakaf being out there and so on. Keep in mind that the standard Dark Elf Master is available, but it's not a Beastmaster. There's just a lot of very similar naming conventions. I think it'll be kind of useful, and it really just depends. It's also just kind of nice to have options, as that allows you to then experiment with different armies. An Assassin Lord might be cool too, a Master Assassin. Generally they don't lead armies, and this is obviously a thing from the tabletop. However, obviously with Clan Eshin getting Master Assassins, it could present for interesting type of playstyle, maybe something more skirmish focused, which you can do quite well with the Dark Elves, but with an Assassin type hero. It really much depends. I wouldn't give them a mount or anything. The idea is for something completely different, and you could probably theme it quite well, especially Assassins would be kind of needed at this point in time if we're getting Chaos invasions left, right and center. In a whole theme of trying to take out any Chaos Lords and sending bands of assassins with a few supporting troops before they're able to summon in demons and so on, you get what I mean? While I tend to focus more tabletop style more than anything, I even admit that sometimes breaking tabletop conventions is probably a good thing, as in the lore, assassins can lead armies, so it's not really out of the question. That's unfortunately pretty much it, and the thing is, the Dark Elves did receive a lot of love throughout Warhammer 2's life cycle, and there's not really much going. In fact, if we look towards the units, there's only pretty much one that comes to mind. This is of course the Sea Dragon, but unfortunately, Sea Dragons are mostly just pulling the Black Arcs, and they don't have legs, they've evolved as time has progressed and so on, so I would say the best option would likely be give them a Merworm, as, well, the Merworms can traverse lands and so on. I don't know if lore-wise they've had more than one. Most well-known Merworms, or domesticated ones if we can even call it domesticated, normally follow the High Elves, but it's not out of the question that one could be corrupted and so on, and we did discuss that with the High Elf video. So what could be done is that if Merworms get introduced for the High Elves, they can do a recolor of one and just give that to the Dark Elves. You know, get one for free by buying the DLC for the High Elves, and there you go. I mean, that kind of works out quite well, I'd say. Believe me, I've been stuck going through loads of different White Dwarf supplements and so on, and it was just really hard to find something unique that wasn't just, oh, it's a spearman just named City Guard, or Mengel's Manflayers, which would likely be a regiment of renown, and so on. But now we can move on to the missing legendary characters, but before that we have a subsection where my own personal agenda comes into this. Technically, there are a few different missing units, heroes, lord options, and so on, but they fall under the whole Storm of Chaos thing. This is of course the Cult of Tsunashi in the Storm of Chaos, which mirrors that of the Cult of Pleasure in the Total War Warhammer series. This is Tsunashi Dark Elves. That's the best way to explain it, as that's pretty much what it is. And this was because a long time ago, the Dark Elves did also worship Tsunashi. It was a cult, and it was accepted in some places, not in others. And it was a cool thematic list because it was a mixture of both Tsunashi and Chaos plus Demons of Chaos. It was the ultimate hybrid faction. So with this, I wouldn't say just a carbon copy of that list because that would be just a bit too much, but add in a few Demonettes, the mounted variants and the ones on foot, the Tsunashi Marauders on foot to just add in some new units and you're pretty much golden. Then add in a few different variants, like for example the Sorceress and Supreme Sorceress being able to cast with the Lore of Tsunashi, give Morathi the ability to possibly mix and match from maybe the Lore of Shadows and the Lore of Tsunashi. It kind of fits quite well like that. Obviously change her corruption from Chaos Undivided to that of Tsunashi corruption, as obviously this is just kind of thematic and it fits with this really well. Then maybe a unique Lord choice, like remove the Master, or the Dreadlord, sorry, and then add in the Druchii Anointed, which would be the same, just a recolor, give it a bit more of a Tsunashi feel, put some marks of Tsunashi. It's literally just like a recolor, reskin type of thing. The exact same, like everything else would be exact same. The same voice lines, nothing really needs to change there. I don't think she'd lose access to any of the original units from her roster. She'd just have a few extra, maybe around, 5 in total? No Exalted Demons or anything, so no Heartseekers, no Exalted Demonettes, just basic stuff like that. In the tabletop, they were able to use Keeper of Secrets and so on, but I think that would just be too much. It just needs to be done tastefully to add in a little bit of Slaanesh to it, and it would just be kind of cool. She'd be the only Dark Elf faction able to recruit Slaaneshi stuff, and you've got a bit of a different playstyle. It would give you incentive to play as the Dark Elves again, but in a very completely different way, as you would have Demonettes, they'd be up in the front, they don't break, they just crumble, so you'd probably get more use of them as a frontline unit. Obviously then the Marauders or even the Seeker Riders would be really cool there. We might not ever get this officially, but the good thing is a modder will definitely do it as soon as the Grand Campaign is available, or Immortal Empires as everyone's calling it, as that way you can then have the mods done and so on. And it's pretty much just that, just add in a few units that don't need new mechanics or anything, just an extra building added to the building or slots, and that's it. Bet you guys didn't think that I was going to do a Dark Elf video without talking about the Tsunashi thing, did you? Anyways, let's move on to missing lords, heroes, and so on, legendary characters, as there's quite a few. So first we have Shadowblade, a very young Dark Elf, and the best assassin they have to their disposal. Well, better yet said, Crone Hellebron actually has him to his disposal, and when other Dark Elves want to hire his services, they must go through her. Now, he is a shadow. He's a literal shadow in the sense that he is one of the best assassins that has ever existed in the Warhammer world. He's technically already in-game, as we've seen him through cutscenes and so on, but we don't actually have him as a playable character. And it would be nice to see him introduced. You might recall earlier in the video I said, oh, if we could have a assassin lord, that would be kind of cool. And Shadowblade would probably be that character. Say, for example, Valk the Bloody gets introduced, it's likely that she's going to go and lead a crusade against the Dark Elves, as that's part of her story, and who better than to try and take her out than an assassin? Yet that trope has been done before with Malice and Snickage, but sometimes these things can be done and have a unique story whilst being very similar in premise. On the tabletop, he was pretty good. He was like an absolute destroyer with weapon strength 10 and 3 attacks. He was able to do quite a lot. The thing is that named characters weren't used a lot, so he wasn't really brought into the tabletop from my knowledge that much. I mean, even if he doesn't get introduced as a legendary lord, a legendary hero could be really cool. At the end of the day, it's just some of the races do need legendary heroes, well, all of them do, but the Dark Elves could do with them, as they do have a decent amount of named characters already available. Kuran Darkhand is the next character here, a rather well-known captain of the Black Guard. In fact, he's fought by Malekith's side for about 1,000 years now. He's a melee-based character, very potent on the tabletop with a very high stat line, though I don't think he ever had a model. Keep in mind, once again, I've said this in many videos, Games Workshop like to introduce characters but never give them a miniature. So he's a run-on-the-mill character which just does a lot of melee damage. I know that's not the most exciting to most people, but it would be an interesting legendary hero from Malekith's faction. Again, as I've said throughout this whole series, we're missing a lot of legendary heroes to kind of flesh out the factions a bit more, and this one would just be there just for Malekith, as it makes a lot of sense. Obviously, he would have some skills that would buff up Blackguard units and so on, which would make them much more viable. On the tabletop, if he managed to join a Blackguard unit, he could make them all unbreakable, which could be interesting. Maybe if you put like 3 skill points, like the new type of Lightning Strike, you could then make any Blackguard unit in your army unbreakable, which, yeah, it's a bit strong, but at that point you would have been already steamrolling for your campaign. Now we look towards Tolaris Dreadbringer, the Hand of Cain, another character which I don't think had a miniature. Gee, I wonder why Games Workshop said that the miniatures weren't selling. Maybe because they weren't releasing enough. But let's not get into that. Anyways, this character is very well known because he was known to be the chosen of Cain before the end times. It is said that Cain directly spoke to him and empowered him with his anger and malice. Because of this, the Crone Queen Hellebron took notice of him and made him captain of the Haganeth Executioners. So yeah, he's a hero character, but in all honesty, many people expected him to be a legendary lord. In fact, when they started hinting at Rakarth, you know, they had the Avatar of Cain there, destroyed and so on, everyone thought this was going to be Tolaris, even myself. He's another character which was melee based, and really his special rule was that he'd join a unit and give them all frenzy. I think it would be interesting if he could give his whole army frenzy, as it kind of fits with the whole being around Tolaris, the Avatar of Cain, or Chosen of Cain, and he could probably be a good legendary lord choice. Keep in mind that, yes, Ulf 1 is very bloated, but it might be interesting to have a Dark Elf start there, as well, you know, go for the Shrine of Cain type of stuff. In fact, I believe the popular mod, Mixu's Legendary Lords, adds Tolaris in the actual area where the sword is. And I would see it probably done the same way, as it would be an interesting start. You'd be surrounded by enemies, but you'd have the sword at the very beginning. Even then, the sword will be kind of powerful. You never know, you never know. Let's be honest, there's no missing units and so on, so as an FLC Lord, he'd kind of work out quite well. I mean, we're kind of expecting some Dark Elf love at the future, maybe just a rework, because, well, let's be honest, slavery needs to get redone, but I'm imagining that that's going to get redone with the Chaos Dwarfs. However, with that being said, that's pretty much it. There are a few minor characters here and there, but these were characters from the 8th edition book, which makes a lot more sense, and yeah, the others are pretty much more generic style, or too similar to Malekith, too similar to anyone that's already being added in, so these are probably the best way to go. Unfortunately, the Dark Elves don't really have that much, and, well, it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. Good thing because they've received a lot of love. Bad thing, they still could do with a little bit more. Maybe some new units from Old World will fix that for us. But we're going to have to wait and see. Now, if there's any units that I've missed, or any characters that you feel that would get attention from earlier editions, do let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and let's start a bit of a discussion. I should be getting back to normal as from this video releasing, in terms of comments and so on. Just physio has been difficult, let's just say. But with that, my friends, we've come to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, might I suggest giving the video a like, or even subscribing to the channel, as it really does help us out. In the description section below are various links to different social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and Discord. Also in the description section is an affiliate link with Element Games where you could buy loads of hobby-based products, not just Warhammer, for 10 to 25% off. Making a purchase using that link and also our special code, which is also in the description, supports the channel at no extra cost to you, which we think is rather cool. A big thank you to our patrons. Your support means the world to us. It's amazing that people want to help a small channel like us grow and get to a higher level of content. A big thank you to Gibraltar LUSC, Ryan Bertsche, Andrew Prince, and Okro for subscribing to us at our Fane level. You guys are super cool. And a big thank you to Edward Yule, VS Vasan, Aaron Whitman, and Shaggy for subscribing to us at our King level. Honestly, we can't thank you all enough. And lastly, a big thank you to all of you for liking, sharing, and commenting on these videos. Honestly, it's because of you guys that the channel's been growing at such a great pace lately, so we can't thank you all enough. But with that, my friends, thank you so much for watching once again, and we shall see you all again very, very soon. Have a good day.